Hello, bonjour. My name is Jan. I live here in northwest France with my husband Duncan. We live in a little village called Montrepoulet. We've lived here since 2011 after buying the house in 2004. In the UK, I have 4 children who have given me 10 grandchildren, soon to be 11, another granddaughter being born at the end of July. Duncan has his parents in the UK, his sister and brother-in-law, niece and nephew. His brother-in-law actually renovates Volkswagen cars and buses, vans, and he has a website called Volkswagen Emporium, should you need any Volkswagen parts and want to take a look. But my main thing for this vlog is to try and introduce myself before I put any vlogs out there. As I say, we bought the house in 2004. When we bought the house, we were just looking for a house that we could renovate for a holiday home. But it wasn't long after that the decision came that we were going to decide to, or we did decide to move here permanently. Especially myself, I didn't have any hesitation. I couldn't wait to get here. When we got here in 2011, we had to finish renovating the house next door. Just let me explain. When we bought the house, it was bought as 2 houses as one. So in fact, it's 2 houses. The one we used to use for holidays is the one we started to renovate, and it didn't need major work, but it did need quite a lot. If I can sort of work out how to do it, I'll put some photos on to show you befores and after. But once we moved here, it took a year really to finish off next door. We put the holiday cottage up for rent for other people to use as a holiday let. So we put it on the site in the hope we'd get some bookings sort of fairly soon. And as it turned out, we did get a booking, and we were still finishing off bits and pieces, more or less coming out the door just hours before our guest arrived. So it was a bit nerve-wracking, but exciting at the same time, having a guest arrive. Obviously, in the meantime, we had to make sure that this house was livable, at least, for us to move into and leave that for the guests. We had only bare basics. I had a table and a microwave. I think we had running water, and we had a shower in, or at least a means of washing, and so we just got on with it. We managed to finish it within about 18 months, although there's always things to do, isn't there? While we were searching for a property here, we decided to make a tick list because we wanted to make sure that we had at least the bare basics of what we wanted here to be happy here. One of the things we weren't really fussed about at the time was having a garden, because we didn't want to be coming out here while we were renovating and having to spend most of our sort of holiday gardening. But as it turned out, when we actually got the house, it turned out that it had a piece of land, but that piece of land was on the other side of the village. Obviously not a lot of use to us, but it was at the end of someone else's garden. After we'd had this house, we'd been here and we were on holiday here. After a couple of years, the person whose garden our piece of land was at the end of, he came in and offered to buy the property because he wanted to square off his garden. He was in the military and he wanted to make sure his garden and the house was secure for his family while he wasn't here. There's not a problem with security here. You know, any crime rate is so low, but I think it was peace of mind for him. So anyway, we sold it to him. So that was good because we obviously weren't going to use it. You can just imagine going down and sitting at the end of his garden for our garden. Then once we've been here, you know, we moved here in 2011, and once we've been here working, we've been chatting with the neighbours and told them it's starting to become clear that we do need something, especially, you know, once we'd started letting out the holiday let, because we thought the guests are probably going to need somewhere to sit at least, or they will do. So we needed at least a courtyard. There is a piece of land which, after we bought the house, was bought. The people bought the house and the land, and we did think about asking if we could buy the chunk of it which was nearest our house to make a courtyard. But in the meantime, a piece of land went for sale. Our neighbours told us about it. A piece of land went for sale, which was around the back of our property, more or less, that had gone up for sale along with the property which was in the village as well, but they were selling the garden separately. Obviously, we jumped at the chance and we bought this garden. It's 500 square metres. It was just a square of couch grass, basically. And as you'll see in my other videos, it's not a square piece of land, plain piece of land anymore. It's evolved a lot. So now part of that garden we've squared off to make it as private as we can for our guests in the cottage. So they get their own separate gate to us, and yeah, they get use of barbecue, they can use the bikes and things. So it works out. Most people that come, and they're not fussed about the little walk down the alleyway, because it's almost like a little woodland path, and they just love it, sitting there and having their own little private bit of land, especially when we get Parisians stay, because most Parisians haven't got a garden, so they love it. One of the last Parisians we had that came with their children said the best bit. Yeah, so it's lovely to have guests stay. We've had people stay from all over the world. It's just been really sad, as with anybody, with any business or anything, that we've not had any clients now for, I suppose, about a year. We did have some people stay that were just working in the area and needed to stay close to the site. But other than that, we decided, I mean, we could have taken more people that were working, but we decided in the end that obviously the regulations became ridiculous for cleaning and everything to let during COVID, and just the energy and the time it took, we just decided to block the calendar out. So we haven't had anybody stay for what seems like a long time. We're back up on the calendars are open again now, and we've got so far 4 bookings for this year, all French people. Obviously, anybody from UK can't leave the UK at the moment to come and stay. But it's nice just to get a few people to stay, and it's good for us as well, being French. We've been here long enough now that we can make ourselves understood to speak to the French guests. So that's the gîte. Once we've moved into here and we started working here, a sort of bit of a rewind. We have done between myself and Duncan, we have done all the renovation except putting the concrete floor in. We obviously got someone to do that for us, and then once that was all set, we started on the walls and everything else. We had to put some walls in to be able to do the concrete, because then we knew where they were going to be, but the rest of it we've just done between us, and we're quite proud of ourselves. I'm lucky that I'm married to an electrician, and he's just very handy. He can turn his hand to doing most things, and because of being an electrician, has been working on sites and things. He's learnt lots of things from other tradesmen. He would say he's not that good, but he is. A friend calls him the magician because she just thinks he can do everything, you know. But yeah, so it's okay. It's not a big house. We decided it was better to get a house this size and not have huge bills, not have huge work, and obviously we're lucky enough that we managed to live here now without a mortgage, which is a huge bonus. But to keep the bills down, we keep the house small. Has a downside is obviously we're not got as much storage as we would like, but it does enable us, with the bills being small, that we can still have holidays, and we're not going to struggle, especially all the time Duncan can work. I now don't work. I didn't come here to retire initially, but things have happened meanwhile that I'll explain in another video, that I don't work now. So I'm just very grateful that I've got a husband who's 10 years younger than me, who can still work. And until he is allowed to retire, we'll be, it's all going to be okay. But he would love to just retire now and be at home with me, and we could do what we want to do. And all the time, all the people he's working for, he meets loads of people in their 50s that have retired, and to him it's gutting that he can't do that. The gîte itself has one bedroom and one bed area. The property is on 3 floors. The bedroom is on the top floor, and the bed area is on the lowest floor. It's a nice size. We've tried to decorate it. We thought decorating it quite French, trying to keep the character in the house. I mean, it was a 1970s decoration when we bought it, but we've tried to put some character back in. We did have someone stay who, even though, I mean, they're French, they said that they felt it was quite English. So we've obviously, somewhere on the line, put our own English influence on it, and it's a mixture. The last time we'd renovated in there was, I think, it was last year. We did some more. The kitchen has been recently renovated again, and no, it's nice. I mean, it's comfortable in there. If you'd like to have a look, have a nosy at the gîte, we've got a Facebook page called our Cosy French Cottage, and I'll also put a link in the comments below for one of the holiday sites that we use, and you can have a look on there as well. But if by chance you'd like to inquire about renting it, then obviously just private message me. It'd be cheaper to come through me. I'm in too much, aren't I? You can tell I'm not comfortable. It's not natural for me to be on film. Plan is with these vlogs is to just share our life here, really, and just to take you with us and just show you stuff. I can only be myself. The vlogs will not be professional, and please don't expect it to be flash, because I'm not really of an age to start learning how to do flash things, but I'll do as good as I can. You'll often see my friend in the vlogs because she lives in the same village as us. She was someone I used to know in the UK, but she's moved here since. And yeah, so we do tend to go out together, because when you live in the countryside, it's practical to do everything you're going to do, your shopping and everything, on the same day, because I was just doing lots of to-ing and fro-ing, lots of time, lots of petrol. So sometimes it's just easier. We share cars, take it in turns, and so that's why we end up doing things together, and there's company as well. You're unlikely to see my husband Duncan in very much. He's quite self-conscious and he doesn't really want to be on film. Yeah, so it's just going to be me, really. And maybe if I'm out with other friends and they're happy to be seen in them, then they will be. Also, just want to say that I'm making 2 other sort introductory little vlogs. Just one to sort of explain, or just to introduce to what crafts I like to do, and another one about health issues, which I feel might be just helpful to some people. So I'll do them separately, and then it's your choice whether you watch them or not. If I can, at some point, I will, try and show you crafts I'm making, but because I've got such limited space in my craft area, it can be difficult to get the good angle to do that. But I'll try, and I want to try and take you out and about with what's local as well. And there are other people in the area doing similar things, people that have got chateaus and some of the grander houses, trying to show their area as well. But I don't really want to tread on their toes, but then again, you may never see theirs. It all depends on what you like to watch. So basically watch this space. If you've got any questions, anything you think you'd like me to show you in our area, as I say, we're in northwest France. People seem to be under the misconception that France is sunny, which, to be honest, in northwest France, it's very similar weather to the UK. We may be a couple of degrees warmer, but we'll either have the same weather as the UK, or it will follow very soon, either from us to UK or UK to France. So it's very similar weather, which is another reason why we moved here, because I personally couldn't live in the south because it would just be far too warm for me. But we do get, one of my granddaughters, she thinks we live in the sun all the time. It's funny how they get that impression. And I think it's because the south of France is the one that is the most popular and people go for. We're not a touristy area, but it is a beautiful area to come to because it's so green. We do have some beach areas which are in the middle of forests, which you can imagine are beautiful. Safe beaches because they're not vast. They're not. You don't lose your children on the beach as you very often can on a big beach, and facilities there for eating and everything within a few yards. So they're perfect, really. So it's a nice area. Because it's not touristy. When you go anywhere to zoos, museums, anything, you haven't got long queues either, because they're not thousands of millions of people coming to the area, but it just makes it all that much more pleasant. You can just drive around easily. When someone says it takes 20 minutes or it's 20 minutes away, it will be 20 minutes because we haven't got constant traffic. We haven't got constant traffic lights and things like that to stop at, and you get there exactly when you expect to get there, except, as is the thing with being in the countryside, you could very well get stuck behind a tractor or a little electric car where this poor little old person or pensioner is driving one of the little electric cars, sans permis as they call them here, and they can only go at a certain speed. So that can be a challenge, but then again, it makes you slow down. That's what we come here for, a slower pace of life. Mind you, Duncan would say to you that it's not quite that slow for him because he's still working, but for me, I absolutely love it. It's just such a better way of life for me. So, as I say, if you've got anybody's got any questions, anything they want to see me or ask me to maybe video, please do in the comments below. I would just say, as I watch a lot of YouTube, you learn that there are people out there that just, their comments have got to be negative. They've got to have a poke at someone. And I just think that's just so unnecessary. They've got nothing better to do. So I would just say, if you're going to do that to me, I'm afraid it's likely that I'll name and shame, because it's just not on. We're out here to try and show people more of the world and how other people live. We're not here telling you how to live. And if you don't want or don't agree with that, then please just stop, just don't watch. Okay? So I shall see you in the next video. Au revoir.